Listen to the wind. In this realm of Himalayan wildlife, oxygen is a fleeting luxury, and gravity is the ultimate enemy. Listen to the wind. It is a relentless, howling force that scours the jagged peaks of Hemis National Park in Ladakh. We are standing at an altitude of over 6,000 meters above sea level. This is the roof of the Earth. In this realm of thin air and shattered stone, oxygen is a fleeting luxury. The temperatures plummet so low that the very moisture in the air crystallizes into microscopic daggers of ice. To the human eye, this vast vertical desert of snow-dusted alpine scrub and freezing mountain gorges appears utterly devoid of life. It seems like a barren monument to the raw, destructive power of geology and gravity. The sheer silence of the stone is interrupted only by the roaring gales that sweep across the Tibetan plateau. Yet, hidden within this deeply hostile architecture, an invisible and vibrant empire thrives. 50 distinct animal species have conquered the impossible here in Ladakh. They do not merely survive in this chaotic environment. They have mastered a strict ecological ladder, forming a breathtaking vertical kingdom where every creature has its meticulously designated floor. Our journey into the wild begins at the absolute pinnacle of this world. This is the penthouse of the Himalayas. Up here, the sky is a piercing, unfiltered blue, and the air is so thin that each breath requires immense physiological effort from any creature daring to cross its threshold. Riding the violent thermal updrafts is the absolute master of this high-altitude domain. The Himalayan Griffon is a colossal avian titan with a wingspan that eclipses the sun. It does not fight the freezing gales that would tear a lesser bird from the sky. Instead, it surrenders to them, utilizing specialized hemoglobin in its bloodstream to extract the most microscopic traces of oxygen from the thin atmosphere. It glides effortlessly on invisible currents of air, soaring above peaks where human lungs would desperately fail. Sharing this frozen, boundless airspace is a creature born of myth and shadow. The lammergeier, also known as the bearded vulture, circles silently above the barren scree slopes. This bird possesses an otherworldly patience and a highly specialized diet. It is the ultimate recycler of the vertical kingdom. When the harsh environment claims a victim, the lammergeier waits for other scavengers to strip the meat. It desires only the sun-bleached bones. Carrying massive skeletal remains high into the air, it drops them with calculated precision onto the jagged rocks below, shattering them to access the rich, nutritious marrow inside. Below these massive scavengers, the golden eagle patrols the knife-edge ridges with piercing, predatory eyes. Flocks of red-billed choughs playfully navigate the turbulent air currents. Closer to the rock face, their high-pitched metallic calls are immediately swallowed by the roaring wind. They dance through the invisible rivers of air, turning the deadly turbulence into an effortless playground of aerial acrobatics. But as our gaze descends from the open sky to the sheer, unforgiving cliff faces, we encounter the true athletes of the mountain. Clinging to a vertical drop that would induce paralyzing vertigo in any other mammal is the Bharal. Commonly known as the blue sheep, their coats are a perfect slate gray, blending seamlessly with the surrounding granite and shifting shadows. Gravity is the ultimate, ever-present enemy here. Yet the Bharal treats a millimeter-wide ledge like a spacious highway. Their hooves have evolved over millennia into miraculous tools of survival. The outer rim of the hoof is incredibly hard and sharp to catch the smallest crevices, while the inner pad is soft and rubbery, providing unparalleled traction on the slick, icy rock. They share these perilous, dizzying heights with the magnificent Himalayan ibex. The male ibex carries massive, heavily ridged, scimitar-shaped horns that curve majestically over its strong back. Watching a herd navigate the sheer drops just to reach a tiny frozen patch of lichen is a breathtaking masterclass in balance and calculated risk. Every single step is a life or death decision. Every leap across a yawning chasm is a bold defiance of physics. However, these incredible climbers are not alone on the freezing cliffs. Where there is prey, there is inevitably the shadow of a hunter. Moving with absolute terrifying silence through the labyrinth of boulders is the apex predator of the high Himalayas. The snow leopard is a phantom cloaked in smoke and silver. Its camouflage is so flawless that it can sit entirely exposed on a rocky outcrop and remain completely invisible to the untrained eye. This magnificent feline is a biological marvel, perfectly engineered for the vertical freeze. Its nasal cavity is unusually large, acting as a built-in radiator to warm the freezing air before it hits the delicate lungs. Its chest is massive, housing powerful lungs required to draw in the sparse oxygen. Perhaps most incredible is its thick, luxurious tail, nearly as long as its entire body. The tail acts as a dynamic counterbalance during high-speed, gravity-defying maneuvers on the cliffs. At night, it transforms into a warm, protective blanket, wrapped securely around the leopard's face against the bitter frost. The snow leopard steps with deliberate, calculated grace. Its wide, fur-covered paws act as natural snowshoes, muffling the sound of its approach against the loose shale. It stops, sniffing the biting wind. It has caught the faint, musky scent of the Bharal. But in the penthouse of Hemis, a hunt is never a simple, straightforward chase. It is a high-stakes game of three-dimensional chess, played precariously on the edge of the abyss. The kingdom holds its breath as the ultimate test of vertical survival is about to unfold. The snow leopard lunges forward with explosive speed. The blue sheep reacts in a fraction of a second. With a powerful thrust of its hind legs, the sheep launches itself into the void. It lands perfectly on a protruding rock, no larger than a dinner plate. The leopard slides to a halt at the edge of the precipice. It watches the prey bounce away across the impossible terrain. Gravity has saved the sheep today. Leaving the penthouse of the Himalayas behind, we descend into the Middle Kingdom. Between the altitudes of 3,500 and 5,000 meters lies the Alpine scrub. Here, the sheer verticality of the peaks softens into rolling, snow-dusted slopes. The air becomes marginally thicker, offering a slight reprieve to exhausted lungs. Vegetation desperately clings to life in the form of low-lying shrubs and hardy grasses. In this transitional zone, the primary rule of survival shifts entirely. Gravity is no longer the main adversary. Here, life depends on the absolute mastery of invisibility and relentless preparation. This is the domain of the architects and the hoarders. As the brief Himalayan summer rapidly fades, a frantic energy takes over the scrublands. The Himalayan marmot is in a race against the ticking clock of winter. These large social rodents are eating machines, urgently packing on thick layers of insulating fat. They must consume enough calories to survive a brutal 6-month hibernation, locked deep underground. Their high-pitched alarm calls echo across the valleys, warning the colony of approaching danger. Nearby, a much smaller but equally industrious creature is hard at work. The Royal's pika resembles a small, round rabbit with short ears and no visible tail. Unlike the marmot, the pika does not hibernate. Instead, it spends the fleeting warm days frantically biting off stems of grass and wildflowers. It carries massive bundles of vegetation in its mouth, laying them out on sun-baked rocks to dry. Once cured, this hay is carefully stored deep within the crevices of the boulder fields. This meticulous hoarding behavior ensures a vital food supply when the snow buries the landscape. Sharing this rocky terrain is a master of visual deception. A flock of Tibetan snowcocks moves slowly across the scree. Their beautifully modeled gray and white feathers match the surrounding granite with astonishing precision. When a shadow passes overhead, they simply freeze, dissolving instantly into the background. Similarly, the woolly hare relies on ultimate stealth. Covered in thick, curly fur, it remains motionless for hours, a silent ghost hiding in the sparse brush. But in a world filled with such cautious prey, the predators must be equally specialized. The Alpine scrub is home to 3 extraordinary feline and canine hunters. The Eurasian lynx prowls the edges of the boulder fields. This magnificent cat is equipped with specialized, oversized paws, covered in dense fur. These paws act as natural snowshoes, allowing the lynx to sprint silently across deep, powdery snow without sinking. It relies on explosive acceleration to ambush the elusive woolly hares. Lower down the slope, among the marmot colonies, lurks the Pallas's cat. It is a creature of peculiar and highly effective design. Its eyes face directly forward, and its small ears are set exceptionally low on the sides of its flat, wide head. This unique anatomy allows the cat to peer over rocks without exposing its silhouette against the sky. It is a slow, methodical stalker, relying entirely on visual camouflage to close the distance on a pika. Not far away, another specialized predator patrols the arid slopes. The Tibetan sandfox possesses an uncanny, almost unusually square-jawed profile. This peculiar facial structure houses incredibly sensitive hearing. The fox tilts its head, listening intently to the faint scratching of rodents moving through underground tunnels. With a sudden, acrobatic leap, it dives nose first into the snow and dirt, attempting to pin its hidden meal. Beyond the rocky outcrops, the landscape opens up into high-altitude plateaus and sweeping valleys. Here, the nomadic herds endlessly wander in search of the sparse, frost-bitten grasses. The Tibetan argali is a true giant among wild sheep. The males possess massive, tightly spiraled horns that can weigh up over 20 kilograms. They move with a slow, heavy dignity, using their powerful hooves to scrape away the fresh snow to reach the vegetation below. Sharing these harsh grazing grounds are the urial, smaller and more agile wild sheep with sweeping curved horns. But the most striking residents of the plateau are the kiang, the Tibetan wild ass. They are robust, powerful animals with a striking contrast of reddish-brown coats and bright white underbellies. The kiang travel in tightly knit family groups, enduring the relentless freezing winds that sweep across the open plains. Resources are incredibly scarce in this Middle Kingdom, yet an uneasy, fragile truce exists among these diverse herbivores. They graze side by side, their collective eyes and ears forming a shared early warning system against the wolves that roam the valley floors. life in the Alpine scrub is a constant, delicate balance between eating and avoiding being eaten. But as the temperature continues to plummet, the true test of endurance lies even further down the mountain. We now descend into the absolute basement of the vertical kingdom. Below 3,500 meters, the sprawling plateaus collapse into deep, shadowed mountain gorges. Here, the terrain is defined by the winding tributaries of the mighty Indus River. As winter tightens its icy grip, these roaring rapids are slowly strangled by the cold, transforming into silent, frozen highways of solid ice. In this darkened, freezing oasis, water dictates the rhythm of life, and finding liquid water becomes the ultimate daily challenge. It is here we find one of the most astonishing biological anomalies in the entire Himalayan range. The brown dipper is a small, seemingly unremarkable, chocolate brown bird, yet its behavior is nothing short of miraculous. While other avian species flee the encroaching ice, the dipper actively seeks out the remaining pockets of unfrozen rushing water. With a sudden, fearless dive, it plunges directly into the freezing rapids. It does not just float, it literally swims underwater, using its short, powerful wings to propel itself against the violent current. Its dense plumage is heavily coated in specialized oils, trapping a layer of insulating air against its skin, keeping it perfectly dry and warm, while it hunts for aquatic insects, clinging to the submerged river stones. Beneath the thicker sheets of ice, a much larger predator navigates the liquid shadows. The Eurasian otter is a sleek, aquatic acrobat, perfectly adapted to this dark, freezing underworld. It hunts fish and crustaceans under the ice roof, navigating by the sensitive whiskers on its snout that detect the faintest vibrations in the water. The otter moves with a fluid, mesmerizing grace, a stark contrast to the jagged, unyielding ice above it. It must frequently find gaps in the ice or rely on trapped air pockets to breathe before plunging back into the freezing depths. Meanwhile, on the forested edges of the gorge, a massive silhouette moves clumsily through the fading light. The Himalayan brown bear is a heavy, lumbering giant covered in thick, shaggy fur that ranges from pale sandy yellow to deep reddish brown. Unlike the frantic, high-speed hoarding of the pikas above, the bear's preparation for winter relies on sheer, unadulterated gluttony. It is in the final stages of hyperphagia, a biological imperative to consume massive amounts of calories before the heavy snows arrive. Its powerful front claws relentlessly tear into the frozen earth, unearthing tough roots, dormant bulbs, and the last remaining tubers of the season. Soon it will retreat into a deep, rocky den, allowing the snow to seal it away from the world until the spring thaw. But as the day draws to a close, our journey pulls us back up from the shadows of the gorge, returning to the treacherous slopes where the vertical kingdom truly defines itself. The sun dips below the jagged peaks, casting long purple shadows across the scree. The temperature drops instantly, and the biting wind resumes its howling chorus. High on a crumbling ridge, the ultimate dance of survival is about to commence. A solitary snow leopard has patiently tracked a small herd of blue sheep. The leopard is a master of the ambush, utilizing every boulder, every shadow, and every subtle depression in the rock face to close the distance. Its spotted coat renders it entirely invisible in the fading twilight. The blue sheep are grazing nervously, their internal alarms primed. They rely on their collective eyesight, constantly scanning the terrain. Suddenly, a loose pebble clatters down the slope. It is a microscopic error, but in the vertical kingdom, it is all that is needed. The leopard realizes its cover is blown and unleashes its explosive power. It charges down the near-vertical scree slope, its massive tail acting as a dynamic rudder, allowing it to execute impossibly tight turns at breakneck speeds. The chase is a breathtaking display of physics, agility, and raw desperation. Rocks shatter and slide under the tremendous force of the pursuit. The leopard is fast, but the blue sheep is the undisputed master of this fractured terrain. With the predator mere inches away, the sheep makes a calculated, life-saving decision. It launches itself outward into the empty air, aiming for an isolated pillar of rock jutting out over a massive drop. It lands with absolute pinpoint precision, its specialized hooves instantly locking onto the stone. The ledge is barely wide enough for the sheep to stand, leaving absolutely no room for the heavier predator to land. The snow leopard skids to a halt at the edge of the abyss. It looks at its prey, its chest heaving, drawing in the freezing thin air. There is no anger, only the cold, calculated acceptance of the mountain's unyielding rules. The leopard turns and silently vanishes back into the ghostly shadows from which it came. As night fully claims Hemis National Park, the tapestry of this incredible ecosystem is complete. From the lammergeier sleeping on the highest thermal drafts to the marmots locked deep within the frozen earth, down to the otter hunting beneath the ice of the gorge. Every single one of these 50 remarkable species plays a vital role in maintaining this delicate, towering structure of life. They do not fight the mountain, they have become one with it. The vertical kingdom is not a place of cruelty, but a meticulously organized masterpiece of evolutionary design. A testament to life's refusal to surrender to the void. This hidden empire of stone and snow is just one of the many magnificent stories waiting to be discovered in the wild. Thank you for journeying to the roof of the world with us. If you were mesmerized by the ghosts and gladiators of the Himalayas, ensure you subscribe to Last Wild and hit the notification bell. Leave a comment below on which creature's survival strategy surprised you the most, and join us next time as we venture into another of the Earth's most extreme and untamed frontiers.